Our model in the Bible for Muumba Web Digital is King Solomon. King Solomon encountered the Lord, and God asked for whatever you want, and he asked for wisdom. And God granted him uncommon wisdom. The reign of Solomon in Israel was characterized by peace, prosperity. There was no war. The fame of his throne went to the end of the world. Kings and monarchs and people came from distant land, like the Queen of Ethiopia, to hear the wisdom of Solomon and learn from him. That's content. And in the particular case of those kings, they would go back to their kingdoms and they would send their entourage to come to Solomon for a webinar or a seminar to learn the wisdom pertaining to governance, pertaining to protocol, pertaining to organization of government and the functions of government and the administration of justice and the application of wisdom to different situations. So these people would send their entourage to come and learn from Solomon. That's because of the wisdom that God gave Solomon. His renown was because of that wisdom. We have one particular guest that came, the Queen of Ethiopia, and she said to Solomon, "I have heard about your wisdom, but now I have witnessed it." She sat there and observed Solomon. She was given a one-on-one mentorship and coaching session. And the Bible says that when she saw all the things that Solomon was doing and the wisdom God had given Solomon, the Spirit left her. So that was the reaction, that was the consequence. That's how much this overtook her. The Spirit left her. And the scriptures tell us that she pulled gifts and gave to Solomon. The value of what she gave in that day, in one day, in today's dollars, could be approximately $260 million in one day, in one session, mentorship session, one coaching session, one conference session, one one-on-one coaching and mentorship session, $260 million. And we want to get such days in this business. And so many of these kings and the great people, and not only they came and they paid to Solomon, but every year they came back, and every time they came back, they brought more gifts. And Solomon increased in wealth, in renown. Even though he lost his ways and began to worship the idols of the women that he attracted, but Solomon came back, we can still see the testimony of wisdom. In the days that we live in very unique times on the earth. Wisdom is needed. Wisdom is the power to accumulate wealth for us. You can see the case of Joseph in Egypt. It was the wisdom of God that enabled him to offer the solution to Pharaoh that accumulated the wealth, but for the sake of the king, not for his own enrichment, for the sake of the king, to serve the nations. That was the purpose of God for positioning Joseph there, is to save the lives of all the other nations during times of crisis. And we are living in such times today. Many of us are being called to receive that same wisdom. The wisdom that we have today is much deeper and much wider. It's much stronger than the one Joseph had, than the one Solomon had. They had the gift of wisdom, but we have the living one who is the wisdom of God, Christ himself within us. So we have the real thing. It's the real deal. And businesses that will excel in this way, in wisdom, in solving the problems of the world, the problems of the universe. If you take the case of Solomon, he wrote 3,000 proverbs, over 3,000 proverbs. He wrote over 1,000 songs. So he had to develop that much content before he began to make money. And today you probably have published a couple of posts and you're complaining already. Solomon wrote about trees, he wrote about birds, animals, he wrote about human body, he wrote about science, the stars, the planets, he wrote about food, he wrote about politics, he wrote about business. He wrote a multitude of topics. And when you're building the top of your funnel in marketing, you need to write about the topics that are of interest to people and attract the crowd, and then through the funnel, begin filtering. But you need to feed the top of your funnel. You need to write on a lot of topics that interest the audience that you are targeting. It doesn't have to be necessarily the exact, if you're selling bags and you're writing about bags, no. People have interest in many areas and they're looking. For instance, you can write about productivity, you can write about your personal development, you can write about business in general, the economy, you can write about relationships, you can write about personal growth and business growth and finance and a lot of different things, because those are things that people are interested in. And as you feed the top of your funnel, you can begin now to segment that audience and begin to target them with specific messages that addresses specific problems that they may have. Solomon published over 3,000 proverbs, over 1,000 songs, and he's renowned, traveled around the world, and through the internet, if you develop that kind of content and you increase your brand visibility and brand recognition and brand awareness, people will come from the ends of the earth, and kings and other people and business leaders will begin to recognize you and identify you. And here at Muumba Web Digital, we're building a community in our group, and we invite you to click the link at the bottom of this video and join that group so that you can become a part of this movement of those who are leading by the wisdom of God in your industry, that we receive that wisdom in a supernatural way, and by applying our hearts to learn that wisdom, and we can be set apart and distinguished, and we can become unique. You know, the onlyness factor of people recognizing you as the source for this and this and that by the superior wisdom of God. Daniel was also distinguished by differentiated, which is branding, by the superior spirit that was in him, and it was also wisdom. Okay, so this is what we're doing right now, and I would like you to click the link and go to our group on Facebook, visit also our website, and become a part of this, because in the next 2 weeks, we're going to begin to actively provide a systematic teaching, and we welcome your questions, and we want to answer your questions on branding and branding strategy and brand identity and brand vision and brand positioning and value proposition. We want to help you develop those things, because it is through branding that you will prosper. Solomon's brand, the fame of Solomon's brand, traveled to the end of the earth. Remember, in another video, I defined brand as being your name. A name that reminds people of a story that people would love to become a part of. And people traveled from far to become a part of the story of Solomon in the kingdom of Israel in Jerusalem. So I will be talking more about these topics. As for now, I would like you to subscribe to this channel if you're not yet subscribed. Also follow our page on Facebook and different other channels on social media, okay? And welcome to the journey. Let's go.